Hello students. As we continue to talk about volume, today we're going to talk about the volume of a sphere. A sphere you can think of as like a ball, a basketball, golf ball, anything. It is a perfectly rounded three-dimensional object so that the distance from the center to any point on the sphere is exactly the same. So it's three-dimensional. If this was the center, then I could draw a line to anywhere on the outside edge of the sphere and it would all be the same. So if you have a perfectly inflated basketball, a perfectly inflated kickball, that would be the shape of a sphere. Now to find the volume, we're looking at how much will go inside of this sphere. And typically we think about that, we think about air, how much air is needed to fill up a basketball or a kickball or something like that. So to find the to find the volume of a sphere, the formula is V equals 4/3 pi r cubed. There's the big difference in finding the volume of a sphere is that we cube the radius, and all the other ones we've done, we've squared it, but with volume of a sphere, we have to cube the radius. Now you're going to need to memorize this formula just like you had to memorize pi r squared h and 1/3 pi r squared h for the others. So make sure this is memorized for sphere, 4/3 pi r cubed. So in this picture, my radius is 10. So I'm going to plug in a few numbers. V equals 4/3 pi times 10 to the third power. And then I take my handy dandy calculator and I'm going to plug in numbers. And so we start with a fraction, so I just do 4 divided by 3 times pi times r, which is 10, raised to the third power. So when I'm raising to the third power, I've got to use the to the power of key right here on the calculator, which is you can also find on your iPad calculator. Raised to the third power, and then I hit, well, actually that's what it's going to look like first. 4/3 times pi times 10 to the third, and I hit enter. There's my answer, 4188.790205, and we round to the nearest hundredth, so that would be 4188.79 inches cubed is the volume for this sphere. Let's do one more example together, and I have another sphere, but this time you'll notice that this dotted line goes all the way across, so you'll remember that that represents the diameter. So this is telling me that the diameter is 25 meters. Well, if I know the diameter, I need to be able to find the radius, and you'll remember that to find the radius, I just divide the diameter by 2. So my formula is V equals 4/3 pi r cubed, and since my diameter is 25 and I divide that by 2, my radius is going to be 12.5. So V equals 4/3 pi times 12.5 cubed. So I'm going to plug that into the calculator. 4 divided by 3 times pi times 12.5 raised to the third power. And that's what I get, 8181.230869. So my answer is the volume equals 8181.23 meters cubed. Here are your two practice problems for tonight. You don't have to draw the sphere on your paper if you don't want to. You can, it doesn't matter. Number 1 has a sphere, and you can see that this is 14 inches, and you have to figure out what the radius is. Number 2 is a sphere, and you see this is 3.75 inches, and you have to figure out what the radius is on those. So solve the volume for both of these spheres, take a picture, and then submit it through Edmodo using the turn-in button.